I have one last statement that of recognition that I would like to make today. I'm not sure how many of you received an email regarding Miss Sarah Mingo Stevenson, but it was a pretty difficult email for me to read because Miss Stevenson is about a week away from being 95 years old, and she has been in having some health issues recently, and she said to her sister, she said, you know, it's okay because when it's time, it's time. And I don't know, sometimes I think that those that have lived a great life are ready to say goodbye when those of us that know them are not ready for them to go. And so before anything else further happens, I want to say to Miss Sarah, as she's affectionately known by all of us, is that we are so grateful that we had the chance to know you. And I want to share a little bit about you for the community members that would say, well, why? Miss Sarah Mingo Stevenson was born in Heath Springs, South Carolina in 1925. She was the first of 14 children. She didn't get to be able to graduate from high school because the teacher left the community, and therefore there was no one there to teach her. She moved to Charlotte with her family, and she met her husband, imagine Robert Louis Stevenson. And in Charlotte, Miss Stevenson and her husband began their careers. I don't think anybody would call it a career back in the day, because they worked in housekeeping at the old Charlotte Memorial Hospital. She lived in the Cherry community where many people that worked in Myers Park or at the hospital lived, and they had 4 sons. In the 1970, the Stevenson family moved to the west side of Charlotte to St. Paul Street off of Beatties Ford Road, where she resides today. But there are many things besides the idea of being someone that did custodial and domestic work, or taught at a daycare center, or worked at the Charlotte Area Fund. You know, Ms. Stevenson actually worked for the city and helped establish the City of Charlotte's dispute settlement program to provide free medication services for citizens and residents of Charlotte Mecklenburg. And she did this in the sense of this mediation and bringing people together when there was conflict. You know, her gift to this community was community mediation, and it's a continuous part of the work that the Community Relations Committee does, thanks to her efforts. Her activism was much greater than just working with our citizens. You know, her sons came along when the schools were segregated, and the band, all of, I think, Miss Stevenson's sons were musical, but they didn't get new band uniforms. They got the used band uniforms from the white high schools. But when it was time to actually address the desegregation of the Charlotte Mecklenburg schools, Miss Stevenson, along with Miss Maggie Ray, joined together to create a black and white parent-teacher association in 1971. And they carried that through. And I think about that today because we often talk about how do we reach out to people in a community and how do we build community. The story that I remember is that Miss Stevenson and Miss Ray had everybody over for dinner. It was a true honor to be invited to St. Paul Street or Charlotte Avenue, where Maggie Ray lived. As many of you know, Thomas Ray, Maggie Ray's husband, who was on the county commission. So these 2 women, black and white, decided that we would have a school desegregation plan that would work for everyone, and they were leaders in this effort. Now, you know, that didn't mean that she stopped there. Ms. Stevenson co-founded the Tuesday Morning Breakfast Forum, which brings political and community activists and their concerns together for weekly conversations. They currently meet at the Belmont Center, and they've been meeting for as long as I can remember in Charlotte. The greatest honor that any one of us could have by Ms. Stevenson was when she announced that you were her son or you were her daughter, and you felt so special until you found out that every woman in the room was her daughter and every man in the room was her son. And she did that because she believed in the humanity of all of us. So, Miss Sarah, as you are resting in your place, and it's your time, you just know that we'll get ready for you to go. It will be tough for us. We will be ready. Thank you very much for what you've done for this community. And one day, let us all aspire to be like Miss Sarah is to us today.
Let's give her a hand.